If you were a fan of Formula One and you played video games in the early 2000s, there's a very specific and deeply confusing memory that you might share with me. Let's say you've walked into your local game store, handed over your money, and you walk out holding a game with the official Formula One branding and the EA Sports logo slapped across the front. You take it home, pop the disc in your PlayStation 2, GameCube, or Xbox, and spend the weekend taking driver license tests, earning reputation points, and trying to get signed by Ferrari or McLaren in career mode. Then on Monday, you go over to your friend's house because he bought the exact same game on PC. You bring your memory card, expecting to compare lap times or flex your helmet designs. You sit down at his desk, look at his monitor, and immediately wonder what the hell you're looking at because you are not looking at the same game. You aren't even looking at a game made by the same developers, running on the same engine, or aimed at even the same demographic of human beings. Your console game was a breezy, career focused simcade built for a controller. His PC game is an unforgiving, hardcore simulation developed by Image Space Incorporated, the guys whose physics code would literally go on to spawn rFactor and lay the foundations for modern sim racing as we know it today. Same box art, same title, same 4-year license covering the 1999 to 2002 F1 seasons, completely different video games. It is one of the weirdest publishing moves in gaming history. But if you dig into why it happened, compare which versions actually held up better, and look at how community projects like the legendary VB mod turned the PC release into a multi decade masterpiece, you realize something wild. EA accidentally built the single best blueprint for a sports game way back in 2003, and modern racing titles are still struggling to catch up to it. To understand how bizarre this was, you have to remember that in 2003, game publishers didn't treat PC and console players like the same audience like they do today. Cross platform parity wasn't a thing yet. If EA was releasing an F1 game, they figured console players wanted a flashy career mode to play on the sofa, whilst PC players wanted to stare at telemetry graphs and adjust spring rates while their eyes bled. But hey, at least they didn't just assume that everyone wants gambling. So EA did what any sensible corporate entity would do, clearly, and hired two completely different studios to make two entirely different games at the exact same time. On console, you got F1 Career Challenge. This version was pure early 2000s console comfort food. It was built entirely around the fantasy of being a rookie driver. You had to do license tests because every driving game in 2003 was legally required to copy Gran Turismo, where you'd brake in designated zones or hit apex targets to prove you weren't a hazard on track. You picked a custom helmet, started at a backmarker team, hit specific race objectives, and earned upgrade points to make your car handle better. It was snappy, aggressive, accessible, and honestly, a total blast to play on a gamepad. It understood what made a video game fun. Then you look at the PC, F1 Challenge 99 to 02. ISI could not have given less of a shit about license tests or custom helmets. In fact, the PC version didn't have a career mode at all. You could even make your own driver. If you launched the game, it just handed you four complete pristine seasons of Formula One history 1999, 2000, 2001, and 2002 and said, there, have fun. If you loaded up 1999, you were driving Mika Hakkinen's McLaren or Eddie Irvine's Ferrari with era correct liveries, real driver lineups, authentic track layouts, and specific engine sounds. If you swapped to the 2002 season, the entire grid transformed. Toyota and Renault entered the championship, track layouts changed, and the handling physics shifted. ISI built the game on their legendary G motor engine architecture. It had dynamic tire heat, rubbering racing lines, open garage setups, and raw force feedback. It wasn't trying to be an accessible console game, it was a digital museum with a physical engine attached. So if you pit them against each other in a head-to-head matchup, which one actually wins? Well, back in 2003, it really depended on what kind of gamer you were. If you just wanted to sit down after school, knock out a race weekend, unlock a cool helmet, and try and sign a contract with Ferrari, the console version was arguably the better video game. It gave you structure and it gave you goals. The PC version, on its own out of the box, could feel a bit sterile if you were looking for a campaign. You're just picking a real driver, doing a race weekend, and that's it. But history has proved that the PC version is miles better, while the console version aged like milk in a hot car, sitting in bargain bins by the mid 2000s because more modern console releases looked and felt so much more fun and easier to play. The PC version became immortal, and that was entirely down to one thing. ISI left the game files completely wide open for modders. Because F1 Challenge 99 to 02 on the PC stored its cars, tracks, physics scripts, and driver stats in easily accessible text files and folders, the community realized something incredible. If the game engine could seamlessly handle four distinct seasons of Formula One in one executable, why stop at four? This is where the VB mod or the Valpasso 75 multi-season mod enters the fray. If you've never played this or seen this mod, it is, without trying to be hyperbolic, easily one of the coolest things ever created in racing game history. It didn't just add a couple of extra car skins or a sound pack, it completely transformed F1 Challenge into an interactive archive of Formula One. You could literally select any era of F1 history. You can start in the 1970s, race through the turbo monsters of the 80s, push into the screeching V10 era of the 90s, and drive right up into the modern era. And the VB mod, it didn't just dump cars into a menu, it maintained complete historical continuity. As you move from year to year, you would have the updated driver lineups, drivers retired, swapped teams, they made their debuts right on schedule. Car performance shifts based on real life, so a dominant team one year might suffer a terrible season the next year because the underlying performance files have been changed in the mod. Circuits physically transformed, the amount of work they've done adding chicanes, runoff areas being expanded, creating classical layouts, and the driving felt completely changed. So rather than every car feeling like the 99 to 2002 cars, they've even put work into changing how the cars felt. So we have the heavy ground effect cars from the 70s and the high downforce cars of the early 2000s contrasting each other. This basically allowed you to play a 20-year career mode across different eras of motorsport, watching the sport evolve around you, and it gave the PC version a level of depth that no official licensed game has ever achieved before. What's crazy about this is that EA and ISI were almost accidentally 20 years ahead of their time. If you think about how other modern racing games handle eras and content packs today, look at an indie title, for example, like Formula Legends. Its whole selling point is letting you race through different historical eras of open wheel cars, showing how the sport evolved. And then if you look at some more hardcore sims like Automobilista 2 or Race Win Racing Experience, those sims don't release a brand new £70 game every 12 months. They build a single solid core platform and then sell season packs. For example, the DTM or WTCR seasons in Race Room or historical track packs in Automobilista 2, and these sit inside the main game. Even mainline licensed titles have dabbled in this. For example, we got it just last year with the F1 game. They put the 26 DLC on the 2025 game, and that's not even the first time Codemasters have done this. Of course, remember we got the 2014 season as part of F1 2015. Yes, it was a pretty bare bones game, but we had the ability to transition across the two seasons. Or look at EA Sports WRC. Instead of pumping out WRC 24 as a separate standalone game, they released a 2024 season expansion DLC pack that updated the existing game with new stages, cars, and liveries. The industry knows that this is a better model, so why are major annual sports titles still stuck on the copy paste treadmill? If you, like me, play modern sports games, whether it's EAFC, Madden, NBA 2K, MotoGP, or the yearly F1 games, you know the exact fatigue I'm talking about. Every single summer, publishers expect us to drop full price on what is essentially a lineup update, a slightly tweaked physics slider, or even just like a new menu color, and a bunch of useless cosmetics nobody asked for. I mean, look, even in F1 24, you can buy a sofa for your virtual driver's house. Who cares? The annual release structure in particular makes no sense for motorsport. F1 operates in regulation cycles that usually last around 4 years. Car concepts, engine rules, and aerodynamic philosophies stay mostly consistent for around 4 seasons before a massive rule change hits. So, why is the official F1 game still doing this? If we bring it back to where it all started in 2003 and stack F1 Career Challenge on console against F1 Challenge 9902 on PC, which one actually wins? Well, as I said before, historically, the PC game takes the trophy by a mile. Thanks to the wizardry of the modding community with projects like the VB mod, the PC version became an immortal sim racing legend that people have played for over a decade or over 2 decades at this point. God, I'm old. But being completely honest, I genuinely believe that both of these 2003 games win when we compare it to what we get today. Whether you preferred the pad friendly and objective driven license tests on console or the raw multi season simulation box set on PC, both versions represented a genuinely inspired and ambitious approach to a licensed motorsport game. They were trying new ideas, catering to specific audiences, and pushing what a multi season license could actually do. Codemasters and EA have the history, the tech, and the blueprint right in front of them. It's time to stop giving us stale, full price, incremental yearly updates. Look back at 2003 and give us an F1 game that's actually inspired again. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments if you played either of these games growing up and if, like me, you were confused as to why there were two completely different versions of essentially the same game. And also let me know if this is something you would like to see F1 and EA return to with the official F1 games from 2027 onwards. If you haven't done so already and you're new around here, please drop a subscribe on the channel. As I said, I'm trying to push to get to 500 subscribers right now. And if you enjoyed the video, give me a like, drop me a comment to let me know that you enjoyed it. And I will see you in the next video.